We are at Anglesey on Wednesday, so it's now Monday, 5 o'clock. We'd like to got this car in and started work on it probably a week or two ago. However, we've been waiting on parts arriving and chased the suppliers up today, and the parts we're waiting on, which was a light and clutch and flywheel, have now gone on back order for even longer. So we're going to get what we can done on this car. So I'll flip it around and I'll walk you around what we've got to get done by tomorrow, 5 o'clock, so we can leave for Anglesey. So this is the car. This is a 996 Turbo, and it's been turned into a track car, as you can see. So we're running full slicks. We've got 2-piece discs all round. We only just started looking after this car because it had been with somebody else. The owners of the car just hadn't had the best of luck with running the car with other people. So it came into us. We fixed a lot of faults. However, there was still some stuff that was left to do, and we hadn't properly gone out on a track day in the car. So we went to Donington probably about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, to do a bit of a shakedown on the car. Went out in it, identified all the issues, and basically we've got a bit of a list to do. One of those was the standard dual mass is knocking in the car. So our plan was to fit a light and flywheel, and also a performance clutch for any power upgrades we do in the future. But like I said, that's not turned up yet because there's 2 bits of the kit that are on back order. So our plan is we're going to replace some of the brake lines because they're a little bit not to our standard, bit higgledy-piggledy. So we're going to sort them out. We're also going to fit a GT3 master cylinder to give better feel on the pedal. And then we're going to put some fresh fluid in it because we're not sure when the brake fluid was last changed, and also the service schedule. There's no records on this car kept by the previous person who used to run it. One of the issues we did pick up on at the Donington test day is just along here. We're going to have to trim the bumper because we're getting some scrubbing. So when we got the bumper off to do the service, we will trim that back, see if that solves that issue. And as you may have noticed, we've lost the rear tail light. That fell off whilst out on track because they're very common to the rear plastic. Well, the plastic on the light unit tends to fail and snap, and both these lights are suffering from that. So again, not something we had touched, but we did lose a light out on track. So we've got a pair of second-hand lights with good plastics that are going to go in the car. the oil draining out the engine. On the This is Mezger engine, so it's dry sumped. So you've got one oil point here, and then you've got the other oil point here for the dry sump. We'll drain this, drain that, and then we'll let it sit for an hour, let all the oil come out. Tuesday morning. Say hello, Adam.
Hello.
Early start for us today to get this 996 Turbo ready for Anglesey. We are planning to leave at 5 o'clock, 5:30. Just finishing off the service work and the brake lines, master cylinder and bleed the brakes. That'll be done. Adam's replacing the front brake lines because the calipers in this car have been upgraded to like a 6-pot from a 4-pot standard, and looked like Stevie Wonder had made the copper brake lines. It was awful. So we're making up a lot nicer, straighter brake lines that aren't bent and kinked in places, which I'll show you under here. Yeah, it's the one that goes from flexi there into the caliper. So we're just replacing them at the minute. This is a better view. So yeah, as you can see here, they go down, round. Oh, it's awful. And you can see there, as it comes out, the flexi, it's kinked at a 45-50 degree angle, which is not ideal for the fluid flow. So we'll get that one replaced and we'll get the car driving a lot better. The brakes should feel a lot more responsive. There is a little bit of a backstory to this car and why it originally came into us. Was it didn't come in via the customer, it came in through someone else who was running the car, and their complaints were the car was handling very erratically, it wasn't driving straight, there was a problem with the ABS system, and could we have a look over the car and just, you know, sort through some of the issues. At the time, we weren't too familiar with the spec, nor was the person who was running the car. They were kind of like, well, we're not too sure. We didn't build the car. It was brought kind of as is, and they've just added to it. But when we got the car on the ramp the first time, this is probably about a year ago now, we realised it's actually got a really good spec. So it's got Nitron suspension arm, Nitron coilovers. It's got fully adjustable lower arms, rear toe arms. Basically, it's all solid bushed. Anything the car's needed is pretty much got there. However, the problem was the normal eccentric bolts that you use to adjust the rear toe on the toe arms and the camber on the lower arm hadn't been locked off. So they had all this adjustability, but the eccentric bolts were still left in there. Now the problem you get there is when you're running on a slick, you're putting a lot of force through the lower arm into these bolts, and they can move around a little bit. And what we found was one of the bolts was really loose on the back end, hence why the back wheel was basically just wobbling about, and that's probably where they were getting the erratic handling from. A bit like active steer on the rear end, but not in the kind of way you want it. So obviously our suggestions going forward, I said, well, let's just lock that off with a plate and a bolt. It will never move again, and that's what should have been done in the first place. I'm not sure why you'd supply a rear arm like that and not lock it off. So we carried out that. We also noticed that it was just a standard 996 turbo gearbox. Obviously it had been converted into rear-wheel drive, so they'd taken out the prop shaft and the front differential and the drive shafts. But when we dropped the gearbox oil out, put a camera up through there, inspection camera, we could see that it was just a standard differential in there, which is from factory an open diff on a turbo. So we recommended the customers to put in a wave track LSD. There's no point in having all that power. As soon as you would have hit a curb, it would have just spun up the inside wheel. And then the other things we noticed on the handling front was the front anti-roll bar. Again, probably due to it running slicks and the anti-roll bar being quite old, and you're putting a lot more force than normal road tyres would through the car. The anti-roll bar was actually bent, so it should be perfectly level, but on the driver's side it was bent down quite a lot, and it was almost touching the lower arm. So we put a full H&R and adjustable anti-roll bar set on the car, so now when we go to a track day we can dial out oversteer, understeer, front and rear, which just helps the car again with setup. We can adjust all the dampeners through the Nitron setup. It just means whatever track we go to, we can set the car up for a tight circuit like Anglesey, a long circuit like Silverstone. Just makes the car a better platform all round. So that was the work we originally done on the car. And then it was about a month, 6 weeks later, the actual owners of the car got in contact with us and said, oh, we know previously you've done quite a lot of work on the car. Can we talk to you more about running the car? Because last year we had a lot of reliability issues, and we want someone to full-time look after the car and make it reliable for this year's track session. We said we're more than happy to look after the car and set up an agreement where we've already got the enclosed trailer, so we can get the car to and from tracks, and also we can do the prep. So we can store the car, we can do everything all under one roof.